welcome to session 9. So in this session we are going to discuss upon the 3D transformation, the 3D transformation matrices and its respective OpenGL functions which we apply for the transformations. Fine. So all these sessions what we have came across, we were discussing about 2D geometric transformations. So in this session we will shift from 2D geometric transformation to 3D geometric transformations. That is, whatever the derivation or the matrix we have formed or we have derived, so all those is going to be intact. For the matrix, for the derivation, whatever we have been derived, we are just going to add one more axis, that is the axis 3, which is going to be the z axis. All the sessions we are discussing about x axis and y axis, we are going to add one more new axis called as z axis. So whatever discussion we have made with respect to 2D geometric transformations, and for this if we are going to apply the z axis, now this is going to be a 3D geometric transformations. Hence, so usually we say that 2D to 3D extension is relatively straightforward. Fine, that is whatever the derivation we have used until now, we will be just reusing those. So with just a slight of extension by bringing in the z-axis. And in some cases, though it is relatively straightforward, but in some cases the extension is less obvious. For example, in rotation, it is not as straightforward as the 2D geometric transformation, but we will just make sure we are going to keep it to the relatively straightforward, but we will see what it makes to be less obvious. And whatever the 3D geometric transformation we are going to have, even those we are going to express in the form of homogeneous coordinates. So where we are going to have 4 element column vector now. If you just look at the 2D geometric transformations, we are going to have a 3 element column vector, that is x, y and the homogeneous parameter. Fine. Hence the geometric transformation is now a 4x4 matrix. A 2D geometric transformation is a 3x3 matrix. Now the 3D geometric transformation is going to be a 4x4 matrix. Hence now just look at this, the 3D translation. So we know what this matrix is going to do and how this matrix is applied on the original point to get a new point or a new position of a point by applying a 3x3 homogeneous coordinate transformation matrix for translation. And so now I need to bring in the z-axis also, and it's straightforward. So just bring in the z-axis, and now this becomes a 4x4 matrix, and I'm going to add the z component also along with the tx, ty. I'm going to add up the z component. Now this is what we're going to have 3D translation with respect to 2D translation. Fine. And so now if you just observe all these sessions what we've discussed in the earlier sessions, so it was just between the x and y plane. If I talk about 2D, it is just about the x and y plane. Hence I was discussing about how we are going to move a point on a plane by using the translation operation or translation transformation. But now when you visualize a point, it's going to be in the space because we have brought in the z-axis into the picture, and for this reason now the point is going to be, whatever the point we are going to choose, it is going to be in the space. Hence remember this. This point is going to be in the space. And so now we are going to talk about the z-axis, and this is what the translation is going to happen. Now the translation can happen anywhere in the space, what it was earlier, anywhere in the plane. And this is going to be about the 3D translation. Now just look about the 3D rotation. As I told you, it is not just straightforward. It's not as straightforward as what we talk about the other types of transformation. Now just observe this. Whatever the 2D transformation or the 2D rotation we have derived, it was for the x and y plane, and the z-axis was the constant reference axis for rotation. We were using z-axis as the constant reference. Whenever I wanted to rotate an object, we were having the z-axis as a constant by default axis, which we were using to rotate a object in xy plane. And for this case, we are going to have this as a 3 cross 3 matrix for 2D dimension. And remember this. So this is what I'm showing out right now here. So even though we had a 2D rotation, the z-axis was used as a reference for rotation. Remember this. And so now with this, whenever we're going to apply the rotation, so for an xy plane, keeping z-axis as a reference, now this is going to be in 2D rotation. Now the same thing, if I want to expand this to 3D rotation, this is where we are going to bring in the z component. When I bring in the z component into homogeneous coordinate matrix, I am going to get a 4 cross 4. Hence, I am going to keep the z component as 1, and the same matrix I am going to get here, because this is where the rotation is still applied for the x and y plane only. And this is what we are going to bring in, the z axis, and this is the homogeneous parameters. Fine, this is what we are going to have a 3D transformation 4 cross 4 matrix for rotation with respect to z axis. Now similarly, when I talk about the z axis with the xy plane, so if I just multiply this matrix, I am going to say x dash is equivalent to x cos theta minus y sin theta, and z becomes 0. And similarly, y dash is going to be x sin theta, and I am going to have y cos theta, and z becomes 0. And z dash is going to be equivalent to z. So this is what we are going to compute the new point with respect to rotation when I apply the 4 cross 4 homogeneous coordinate matrix for 3D rotation. And now just observe this. As I told you, right now whatever we have formulated the matrix, this was for x and y plane with reference to the z axis. And this is the forms what I am going to get to compute the new point of the rotation. So similarly now, I should be able to keep x-axis as a reference and make sure the object will rotate in yz plane. And I am going to even have the y-axis as a reference for rotation, and we will use xz as a plane for rotation. So fine. Hence, I need to address all these three cases. As the first case was the straightforward, now I need to slightly modify to formulate for the x-axis reference for rotation and y-axis for rotation. To do this, I am going to use something called as cyclic permutation. That is, now I am going to use the same formula. Observe the same formula I am going to derive now, and nothing new I need to discuss or nothing new to I need to derive from the scratch. So now I am just going to replace x with y. Wherever in the formula I am going to have, replace x with y and replace y with z, and cyclically replace z with x. That is what we are going to do now. If I do this, I will be having the form for the x-axis as reference and y-axis as reference. And so now the z should be replaced with x, and x dash equals x. So I am just going to replace this x with y, hence I am going to have y dash, y cos theta minus y should be replaced with z and z sin theta. And this y should be replaced with z, and this becomes z dash, x is replaced with y, and y is replaced with z. And this is what I am going to get the new form. So for this obtained form, again, if you have this cyclic permutation by replacing x with y, y with z and z with x, I am going to get the form with respect to the y axis. And so once we are going to have this form, I am going to have this following three matrices. Now it depends upon which rotation you are going to apply. Are you applying the rotation with respect to z axis, or with respect to x-axis, or with respect to y-axis? If you are having the z-axis as a reference for rotation, I need to use this matrix 1. And if I am going to have the x-axis as a reference axis for rotation, use the matrix 2. And if it is y-axis as a reference axis, use the matrix 3. And so this is where we use the rotation matrix in 3D. So now we'll just shift on to 3D scaling now. You can just observe here, we are going to have a 3D scaling where we are going to use this matrix, a 3x3 matrix, to apply a 2D scaling. So now I am going to add up a z-axis, and so now I need to get a 4x4 matrix along with Sx and Sy, the scaling factor. I am going to add up Sz as a scaling factor. So this is again a straightforward matrix what I am going to get for scaling. So now when I was discussing about 2D scaling, so we discuss about 2D scaling with respect to fixed point. That is, as and when I increase the size of an object, which will tends to move towards the origin, and as I increase the size of an object, it tends to move away from the origin if I am applying a scaling transformation. If I don't want that to happen, and if I want the object to be on the same position and it should be applied with increase and decrease, I talk about fixed point. And instead of bringing in the new component xf and yf, so we had used a technique of translating the object to the origin and applying the scaling at the origin and retranslating the object to its original position. This is the one technique what we had discussed when we want to have 2D scaling fixed point. And so for this, we had derived a common matrix or a composite matrix which is going to work for a fixed point 2D scaling. So now the same thing will be applied for the 3D scaling also. I am going to apply translation, but now it's not only 2 factors I'll be using 3 factors now. I'll be using 3 values for the translation and use all those 3 scaling factors for scaling at the origin and retranslate it to its original position. The same thing I am doing here. Hence, by this I am going to get this matrix even with the z component and the fixed point. Now this is the matrix which I am going to use for 3D scaling at a fixed point, and this is the matrix what I was using for a 2D scaling at a fixed point. And so now how exactly we are going to have the 3D rotation, so with respect to pivot point. Because if you remember in the previous session when I was discussing about a 2D rotation, so even we wanted a 2D rotation to happen other than the origin, it is whatever the point we are going to give or whatever the point we are going to mention. The same thing we are going to address the issue in 3D rotation also. But remember, in 2D rotation, at the pivot point, it was just a 3-step process for us. That is, translate the object to the origin at the pivot point and rotate the object at the origin and retranslate the object to the pivot point. This was just a 3-step process what was happening. But just look at the 3D rotation at pivot point. If I am following the same mechanism, these are the 5-step process what I want to do. That is, right now just observe, this is going to be the initial position of the point. I am going to have a point to be at the initial position. So now if I want to apply the rotation for this, so at some random pivot point, that is P1 is going to be the pivot point and I am going to have P2, so which is going to be used for rotation. In that case, I am going to shift the P1 to the such a way that is going to be at the origin. Hence, while doing this, even I am going to translate P2 also. This is the one which wants to be applied rotation with respect to P1. And so now I am translating P1 to the origin, the first step. The second step, I need to rotate the P2 in such a way that it is going to be in parallel onto the rotation axis which I want to use. So right now in this example, Z axis is going to be the rotation axis. Hence you need to rotate the P2 in such a way that it's going to be in line with the Z axis, something like this. And once the step 2 is done, I am going to rotate the object with respect to Z axis. So now I am going to rotate the object with the whatever the theta value I am going to get. Once the rotation has been done, I need to re-rotate the axis to its origin orientation. That is, now I have done a rotation here. Now I need to retranslate or re-rotate to its original position with rotation. And I need to retranslate the pivot point and the original point to its original position. Hence, so translate, rotate, and I'm going to apply the actual rotation with respect to origin and the axis reference, and I'm just going to re-rotate, I'm going to retranslate, and this is the 5 step which I want to apply. So with these 2 translate steps, I need to add up 2 more rotation and re-rotation step, or the inverse of rotation. And so now to bring in this, so now first I'm going to apply the translation, then I'm going to apply the rotation with some beta value or the beta degree until the axis is going to be in parallel with the reference axis, and I'm going to apply the actual rotation with respect to Z axis, because right now as per this example, Z axis is the reference for rotation, hence we call this as RZ of theta. And using the same amount of degree what I have been rotated, I need to re-rotate. That is, I need to have the inverse of rotation. And once this is done, I am just going to apply the rotation. So where we are going to apply for the object, and I am going to retranslate. Hence I am going to have T inverse. Hence I am just going to have this 5-step process where I am just going to translate, I am going to rotate, and I am going to rotate with the theta actual value, and I am going to re-rotate, and I am going to retranslate. So this is how the 3 rotation with the pivot point is going to work in your OpenGL program. So now with the 3 rotation pivot point, now we will just look at the other 3 transformation what we add in 2D transformation. In 2D transformation, we discussed about 2 additional transformation, that is the reflection and the shear. So now even I can have those in form of 3D transformation. Hence in a 2D transformation of reflection, I add 3 cross 3 matrix. Now I am going to 4 cross 4 matrix, similar with the shear. And so now I can just make sure what values I am going to use in 4 cross 4 matrix to have a different type of reflection. So the reflection whatever I am going to have is, so I am going to have X and Y values will be intact, and the value of Z will be inverted to form the reflection, keeping X and Y plane as a reference plane, or keeping X and Y axis as a reference axis. Fine. So in such a way you can form any type of reflection by just modifying the whatever the value you need on this case. So now if I want the shearing, so right now I am going to apply the shearing with respect to Z axis. Hence nothing is going to change in the Z value. Is going to be constant. I am going to apply the shear factor on the X axis, and I am going to apply the shear factor on the Y axis, so with reference to the Z axis, and this is the matrix what I am going to use. Hence you can modify this matrix depending upon what type of shear you require and in which axis the shear effect you require and what's the amount of shear you require. And this is going to be a 3D transformation for the reflection, the shearing. Now with this, whatever the transformation we have discussed until now, it is going to be the rotation, the translation, or the scaling, or even the reflection and the shear. All this transformation we can call this as affine transformation, because this is going to something work on the linear equations. This can work on linear equation. Now whatever the 4 cross 4 matrix we add, I am going to put it into this form now. Fine. And the x dash will be formed using the x value, y value and the z value of the original value with some b constant. That is, this b constant is going to be either for the translation, this is going to be for the translation, or this is going to be the pivot point for rotation, or it is going to be the fixed point for scaling. And all this is going to be the multiplicative factor. If I want to apply rotation, I am going to use this values. If I want to apply the scaling, again I am going to use this values. Now whatever the matrix we are derived, in general we can going to say we are going to put into this affine transformation form. And so whatever the transformation we have discussed until now, all this is going to be called also as affine transformation. Now with this, so now we will just see whatever the matrix we have put, how exactly we are going to put into an implementation form or a coding form. And so now this is an example code what I have put here. So similarly you can think about how the rotation matrix is going to work in implementation, and how the scaling is going to work in implementation, or the reflection, or even the sharing. So now for example, just look at this. Now this is an 3D translation matrix. Now if I want to have this matrix, and if I want to form this as a matrix, your job is so simple here. So just declare a matrix of the size 4 cross 4, and so initially I'm going to make all the diagonal elements to be 1. Fine. Hence inside this loop I make all the elements to be 1, and other than the diagonal elements I'm going to make it to be 0. Hence all the values is going to be 0 other than the diagonal element. So once this is done, I am going to make sure now these 3 values will be copied with the tx value, ty value and tz value. So please make a correction here. This is supposed to be ty and tz. Right? Hence I am going to copy the tx value as 0, 3, because this is the 0, 3 position. This is 1, 3 position, and this is 2, 3 position. Hence I am going to copy tx, I am going to copy ty, and I am going to copy tz here. So please make a note here. You need to make the correction for this. This is not tx, it should be ty and tz. Now this is how we are going to implement any matrix of rotation, translation, scaling, or any transformation. And once you have matrix, the next operation what you do, if I want to apply a translation on any given object or any given point, I am just going to multiply this matrix whatever I have been formed on the point what is to be applied with the translation. That is how the matrix will be implemented in your OpenGL program. So now with this, just look at some of the OpenGL functions which we are going to use for geometric transformations. And so now whenever I want to use any OpenGL function for geometric transformation, it can be for translation, rotation or scaling, whatever the transformation you need, you are going to have an OpenGL function for that. Hence the first function is going to be for translation, which we're going to call this as GL translate. And right now don't worry about star, I'll just tell you what exactly this star should be replaced. So now whatever the translation matrix you're going to take, or whatever the translation you want to apply, you need to have this 3 values: the value of x, the value of y and value of z. That is the new point where the translation should be taken to, and that is what we are going to have. The GL translation takes 3 parameters, the new position where the object should be shifted. Fine. And so now as you can see, we are going to have the same translate function even for the 2D transformations also. Now if I talk about 3D translation and a 2D translation, you don't have separate functions for this. You don't have separate OpenGL function for this. Using the same function, if I make the z value to be 0, Now this can be used as a 2D transformation because I am not giving any value for the z axis. Or it is obvious now that it can be used for 2D transformation, or it is something like I'm using it for 2D transformation. But actually remember, by making the parameter 0, now you cannot call this as 2D translation function. Still it is a 3D translation function. But what we are doing here, we are just making the z value or the z parameter to be 0. But still this is going to work with the same 4x4 matrix. Fine. And so now it is just for your information. There's only one function, one OpenGL function for translation with respect to 3D or with respect to 2D. But it depends upon how you use the z value or the third parameter for this function. Fine. And so now when I'm going to have star, if you remember the GL vertex function, so GL vertex, I'm going to put it over the star over there. So when I'm going to have GL vertex star, the star can be replaced with 2 or 3 characters. If it is a floating point and if it's for 2-dimensional point, I would have used GL vertex 2f. Similar over here. Now this star can be replaced with 1 character now. It can be of the type. It can be float or it can be double. And so now when I'm going to have the star, now this star can be replaced with f if I am passing the floating point as parameters. I can replace it with d if I'm going to pass double type of parameter. And so now I'm going to have 2 types of functions now. The GL translate f and GL translate d. The parameters will be intact, and even the same with this. I'll be having GL translate f, GL translate d. It depends upon how you're going to use the z value. Now this is what you are going to have the GL translate function. So similar to this GL translate function, we are going to have GL rotate for rotation operation and GL scale for the scaling transformation. And again this stars can be replaced with either f or d. And now this scaling function takes 3 parameters. The 3 scaling factor for the x-axis, scaling factor for the y-axis, and the scaling factor for the z-axis. Hence this is just straightforward. And we are going to have GL rotate now, which takes 4 parameters. So remember, y takes 4 parameters now. So if you remember, whenever I'm going to have a rotation, all this sessions what I was discussing, I was saying r of theta. Wherever I'm going to, I was just saying r of theta. That means you should have been observed that rotation was discussing only with the theta value or the rotations what it wants to apply. But now just look at this. Along with the theta what I'm going to pass, I am passing 3 more parameters. Now this is where it will come into a 3D geometric transformation function. Fine. So now when I'm going to have the theta value, when I'm going to have any rotation, I told you now you should decide you're going to apply rotation with respect to which axis. By default we were working in z axis, or now I can make the rotation to happen at x axis. Even the rotation can be with respect to y axis. This is what I had been discussed earlier with you. The rotation can happen with x axis or the y axis or z axis. Hence now you need to mention with respect to which axis the amount of rotation is going to happen. That is what the rotation function is going to do. And now just look at this examples what I am going to put with the parameter. So GL translate f, I am just giving 0.5 minus 1, 0.75. I am giving a point in a 3D dimension, in a 3D. So now whatever the object will be affected with this function will be shifted to the point what I have given here. This is the new position where the object should be shifted now. And now if I am going to have a rotation now, I am going to say it as 45 and this is going to be 45 degree. Remember this, whenever going to pass a parameter for this theta, you need to give this in the degree form only. Do not try to convert from degree to radian. Do not try to convert from degree to radian, and do not think that you need to pass an radian value for this theta, which you usually do in C program for the sine and the cos function. The sine and the cos function will expect you to have the radian value as a parameter, hence you need to convert its equivalent value from the degree what you read as input. But the rotate function will take 45 degree as its degree only. Remember this. And inside its function, it will make sure it was going to convert from degree to radian. It is going to do it by itself. So do not think about giving any radian value for this. And so now I want the rotation of 45 degree, the first parameter. Hence I am going to say z value is going to be 1. Just observe, x is 0, y is 0 and z is 1. So this means the rotation should happen with respect to z axis. If I wanted the rotation to be happened at the x axis, I would have given 1 0 0. For y axis 0 1 0. For x and y axis 1 1 0. You can put it of any combination depending upon what reference axis you need for rotation. Similarly, I am going to have G scale, which takes these 3 parameters. So GL scale. So I am going to say 1. So if I am having the scaling factor as 1, what happens? Yes, the size is not altered with respect to x axis. It is 100%. It will stay intact with respect to x axis. And I am giving 0.5 here. So with respect to y axis, the object will be compressed 50% because I am giving 0.5. And for the z axis, I am giving 2. Now this will stand as 200%. And so now in z axis, I will be having scaling factor increased with 200%, or it will be doubled. Hence, so nothing is changed with the respect to x values. So 50% will be reduced in the y values and the z values will be doubled 100%. So this is how we are going to make use of OpenGL functions for any geometric transformation operation what I want to have. So this is what you need to understand in this session. Thank you.